Hello, everybody. It's Debbie. Time for our Sunday talk. So, it's been a couple weeks. I hope you had a good Easter. Those of you who celebrate Easter. And we've had the spring equinox. And I channeled for that. And it was very productive. Got a lot of really good questions and a lot of very interesting answers from the Ascended Masters. So, one thing I wanted to talk about that they said in the channeling was that President Trump could be betrayed by someone within his inner circle. So, keep an eye out for that. The vice president came to mind, and we know that's happened before to Trump when he was in office before. So, or it could be someone else, of course, but they said either, the question the person asked was if he will finish his 4 years this time. And they said, well, it depends, because obviously people are still trying to kill him, or he will be betrayed in some way by someone close to him. So pray for the president. No matter how you feel about him, we don't want anything bad to happen to him. So it doesn't matter whether you're for or against him. Let's make sure that, we don't have that kind of upset in our country, because it's always a big problem when something like that happens, no matter who the president is. So I also picked some cards for the next week, and I will put a picture of the pull in the comments below. But what I got from the cards this week was that there is going to be the financial system that we know is in transition is going to be ending the old one, and the new one is beginning. And there's lots of signs of that already. But that is what the cards were mostly about this week. So we have the Lovers, the Death card, and 2 Pentacle cards. And that's just what I got from my reading of the cards. But you can make your own interpretation if you're a reader. And please share them in the comments. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of personal. It's about my history as a channel, and I've just been thinking over my biography, so to speak, of my spiritual journey and all that I've done, and you might not be aware of. So, at the risk of sounding like I'm blowing my own horn, I just wanted to go over some things. So, those of you who've known me for a long time know I've been channeling for like 26 years. I started channeling in our Reiki shares years ago, and then when I moved to Sedona, I did it publicly. I did it publicly in Maui. I've done it for a few churches at different times. So I've had a lot of experience, and I've channeled a lot of different spiritual beings, and Pierre Chardin, Abraham Lincoln, Kuan Yin, of course, Saint Germain. And I've taught classes in Reiki, meditation, Ho'oponopono. I've studied with the grandmothers, indigenous grandmothers, and my aunties from Hawaii. And when I lived in Hawaii, I had an internet radio show called Metaphysical Mornings for a while. Unfortunately, the guy who started that station passed away at a very young age. It was very sad. He was a very wonderful person, and the radio station kind of died with him. So that ended, but it was a lot of fun, and I interviewed a lot of interesting people. I interviewed dream interpretation psychologist, and who else? James Gillihan from the ranch where he watches all the UFOs. I interviewed him. I interviewed a bunch of different people. Plus, I channeled on that radio station too. And I wrote articles for Maui Vision for 8 years when I lived on Maui. And I wrote books. So I have books on Amazon. I have my spiritual journey, how learning Reiki changed my life. That's my main paperback book. And then I have my children's book, Animal Stories of the Desert. And then I have several ebooks on Amazon that you can order just for Kindle. And some of those are Pierre Chardin's channelings that I wrote down when I did those. So I made a book out of those. And spiritual tips for everyone, daily spiritual tips for everyone that I do, all my daily spiritual practices that I do for protection, and the prayers that I use and the cleansing things that I do are in that book, and it's a very helpful book. People have really liked that. So I think I've done a lot of things, and I'm just feeling like it's time to, really put an emphasis on that since I'm not doing massage anymore. So if you have a group or, a club or a church even that would like to hear me speak or do a channeling or do readings for your book club or anything like that, just let me know. You can contact me 808-856-1962. And I also do private spiritual counseling, either by readings or if you're just new to the path and you'd like to get some guidance. I know a lot of different areas. Like I said, Reiki, meditation, Ho'oponopono, which is the Hawaiian forgiveness practice. I love to teach that too. So, and my website is angelbytheminute.com. And I'd also like to start officiating weddings again because I really enjoy that, and I used to do that. So if you have a wedding coming up or you need a minister for a ceremony or anything that you think I would be a good fit, please give me a call. Aloha.